Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. With the cost of the North Shore wastewater treatment plant now expected to run 5 times over budget, a group of Lower Mainland councillors are calling for Canada's Auditor General and members of Parliament to find out what went wrong. And we're celebrating the grads of 2024. Are you graduating this year, or do you want a shout out to a grad you know? Call or email in our second half and we'll get your message out. I'm Amy Bell, sitting in today for Michelle Elliott, and this is BC Today. Thanks for joining us on radio, TV, and on live stream. You can call us now on our top story. As costs for the North Shore wastewater treatment plant continue to skyrocket, what oversight is needed to stop infrastructure projects going over budget? And who should be on the hook for ballooning costs? And in our second half, we're celebrating the grad class of 2024, so we want to hear from you. Our number, as always, is 604-669-3733. You can also call 1-800-825-5950 or hit pound 690. You can also email us, bctoday@cbc.ca. In a time when everyone's budgets are being stretched by increasing costs, the news that the new North Shore wastewater treatment plant has ballooned to $3.86 billion, over 5 times over the original budget, is very unwelcome news. This means that when it's completed, Metro Vancouver taxpayers will be facing an additional tax burden. It breaks down like this. North Shore households will pay an extra $590 a year for 30 years, while other municipalities in the region will pay between $80 and $150 per year for 15 years. Metro Vancouver has finally announced it will launch an independent audit of the project after calls from BC Premier David Eby, BC United Party leader Kevin Falcon, and local municipal politicians. So we're asking you, who should pay the ballooning cost of the North Shore wastewater treatment plant, and what oversight is needed to stop infrastructure projects from going over budget in the future? Call us 1-800-825-5950, 604-669-3733, or pound 690 on your cell, and email bctoday@cbc.ca. Now, both the province and the federal government have committed to $200 million each for the original project budget of $700 million in 2011. And that sparked a call from 7 Lower Mainland city councillors for Canada's Auditor General, Karen Horgan, to conduct another review of the project. Joining me now are 2 of those councillors, Kash Heed, Richmond City Councillor, and Ahmed Youssef, Maple Ridge City Councillor. Hello to both of you.
Hello, thanks for
Good afternoon.
No, thanks for making time for us and our audience. Kash, I'll start with you. This call is in addition to last week's request to the BC Auditor General for review. Metro Vancouver has agreed to an independent audit now. So what prompted these councillors to reach out to the Federal Auditor General?
Well, certainly we need a comprehensive audit done on this, and we need an investigation done on it because, as you talked about in your prelude, is we want to make sure that this doesn't occur once more going forward. So I think it was incumbent upon us as local politicians to, number one, ensure that the province, who has the ability to conduct a forensic audit through the Auditor General, somehow has some involvement in this because of the money that they've put in and most likely will put in the future. Mm-hmm. We had the call by the Metro Vancouver board to do a review. I'm not sure what that review looks like, how transparent it'll be, whether it gets into that forensic audit team, that audit once it's done. And the reason why we wanted to go to a larger perspective with the federal government Auditor General is the fact that Canadian taxpayers are involved in funding this failed project so far in a timeline that we're not even sure when it's going to be completed. Right. So the fact that we can engage them into this because of the financial dollars that they've put in, and there's a very important fact of why we went federally on this, is through the Competition Bureau. What we would like to see, because you've got to look at this, we do look at the competition for telecoms, for the oil industry, for the food business. We need to look at it on how we procure these large projects that are funded by taxpayers.
And Ahmed, the Iona Island wastewater treatment plant is now delayed by 5 years and is $8 billion over budget. How will this audit have any impact on this project? The plant was first opened, in 1963, and the plant is nearing the end of its life. So I think I'm just curious what's different about this project as opposed to the one in the North Shore.
Well, aside from the differences, be it technical and location and use of the actual project, where Iona is more regional, the North Shore is limited to the residents within the immediate vicinity that will utilize the services once the project is up and running. But to answer the first portion of your question, it is exactly about the lessons learned, as Mr. Heed offered earlier, of where things went wrong first, and then, of course, where we can do better for our tax dollars and our taxpayers to be more of an efficient form of government, to provide a better service, and to be able to be more accountable to those that are funding these projects and ultimately benefiting from them.
I do have a call on the line that I wouldn't mind taking now. Richard calling in from Richard. Hi, Richard. How are you?
I'm great. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Thanks for calling in. What are your thoughts on this whole wastewater treatment plant and the skyrocketing budget?
Well, thanks for taking my call. So I was talking to your producer, and in a nutshell, basically, from what I understand, it's, they have 30 years to deal with this problem. I'm sure somebody was looking at this when they were looking at growth, real estate, bringing in more revenue, making more money with development costs and everything else.
Sure.
Well, that comes with a skyrocketing population. So why did they not deal with this 30 years ago? And they talk about this vision, but they spend money for all these other people to make money, but they didn't account for the fact that you need to offer services.
And I will throw to you, Cash. We had a little connection issue, but I understand that you're back with us now. Did you get a chance to hear what Richard was saying about not planning for the population growth?
Well, let's just be clear here on when we look at these procurement of these particular projects. I agree. We've got to have futurists on board. We've got to have actuaries on board. We have to have people that have the vision and the ability to make sure that whatever we are planning based on our population base, such as the wastewater, that we do it with some type of integrity in place to make sure these cost overruns don't take place. We've got a significant procurement problem here. And even going further, if we could look at the federal government having a committee to start to investigate this, whether we have a problem in the construction industry as to why the costs are expanding at an incredible rate. When you look at the Iona treatment plant, it's $12.5 billion and increasing $1 billion every 6 months. Something is out of whack here, and I don't think it's all necessarily to do with the fact that we've had COVID or inflation or areas of that nature.
Well, and that's been brought up many times, that this was, an unusual time in our history with COVID. There was the concrete strike. All of these things they sort of said contributed to it, but it's not unusual for budgets to not be held to the glass cent when you're having any project, but this one does seem to be unusual without too many answers. And Cash, further to your point, these wastewater treatment plants are very complex projects. But what, in your opinion, has led to some of the ballooning costs? Because you've been involved since the beginning. Was any of this sort of foreseen?
No, it's in my opinion, it's improper procurement. And I think that's what we have to start at. But again, Amy, we've got to make sure we have the evidence to support whatever changes we need to make. And that's why we're calling for these audits to be done and these investigations to take place to protect us going forward on any of these major projects, whether it's related to wastewater treatment, whether it's related to hospitals, schools or something of that nature, because at the end of the day, the common link, it's taxpayers that are on the hook for paying for this.
And I welcome callers or emails on this topic. You can reach us at 604-669-3733, 1-800-825-5950, pound 69. You can also email bctoday@cbc.ca. We just want to get your idea of why you think these infrastructures, these projects tend to balloon in terms of their costs, and who should be responsible for those ballooning costs, but also who should be ultimately responsible for paying for those extra funds. Ahmed, these projects, obviously, these wastewater treatment plants will serve multiple municipalities in the region. How much oversight should the province and federal governments have throughout this project or out this process? Should it be left to those municipalities to have the final say, or should the government always have that firm oversight? Ahmed, sorry, that question was for you. Can you hear me?
Oh, sorry.
No problem.
Yeah, it's a little choppy, the connection.
Oh, okay,
I
sorry.
wanted to address what Richard was saying earlier, and
Please.
there are funds in place by municipalities such as North Vancouver where they are taken into account for growth and for projects that are coming, and those reserve funds are there to buffer the excessive costs that will be incurred as projects move forward. However, in this case, it is so far above and beyond anyone's expectations in the way of cost overruns that they're really, even with complete depletion of the reserve fund that was set aside for this project,
Right.
there's still going to be that excessive tax burden that now will come to the residents. And if I may get you to repeat your question, because I was kind of focused on that. You were asking about oversight on these projects. Absolutely. And I believe that the government should not only have internal oversight, but rather a third-party independent auditing firm or auditor that then comes in and looks at the costs. When we do projects in the private sector, we ensure that there's accountability, that there are people and organizations, companies, corporations that are held accountable to deliver the service or product that they are promising to deliver at the cost that is within, of course, the margins of where we initially initiated or started or commenced the project in this case. I would like to see our government at all levels, regional, municipal, federal, and provincial, function in the same way, whereby we're holding corporations that bid on these contracts accountable. You say you will deliver us a water treatment plant within a $500 million budget, give or take 3%. Great. If you don't, then there should be built-in repercussions to go after that corporation to ensure that accountability. We can't look at it as other people's money. It's our money. We're the taxpayers. We need to be very considerate and very cognizant of how each and every single dollar is spent and make sure that it is spent in the most efficient manner.
Thank you for that. Now I will bring in another caller. Christine, you're calling in from Vancouver. Hi, thanks for joining us here on BC Today.
Hi.
And so what are your thoughts on this particular project or these, ballooning budgets for other projects in general?
Well, I think there's fault on both sides. I think the companies do need to be held to their budgets better, and they should build in a cushion for some things not going quite right. But I also think that on the government side of things, there's a billion red tape muck that corporations have to go through and hoops that they're made to jump through that I believe does add to the cost in the end, and the cost for taxpayers, because we're paying all the middle management guys to stamp all that paperwork. And I think, corporations are also maybe a little frustrated with that side of things. And I think the issue needs to be looked at from both points of view.
Thank you for that, Christine. I'll ask both you, Cash, and Ahmed, how much responsibility do municipalities have sort of throughout this whole process, you know, for payment, but also for holding the other companies to accountability throughout the process?
Well, remember the legislation we have under the charter limits us to what our abilities are. If you recall, this is a Metro Vancouver initiative that's put in place. I believe local governments don't have the proper representation based on what is occurring within their municipalities at this time. And as a result, it's burdened the taxpayers greatly on the North Shore compared to the other taxpayers across the region with respect to this cost overrun. It's important to remember we're not talking about just a 3 or 5 or 10% cost overruns. We're talking about the largest cost overrun based on the dollars here, the 5.7 or 575 million originally, and we're just below 4 billion now. So it's just not a few dollars here. It's not just a built-in cushion. No. It is significant. The responsibility and accountability should be directed toward the level that actually procured these people to come in and do the work and had the cost estimate of 575 million. The accountability comes to them because it's almost $4 billion at this particular time. So it's difficult for local governments to maintain the control and the accountability when it's at a different level. And I think we've got to work that through with all the various levels that should be involved in ensuring the accountability is in place.
Ahmed, what is your response to how much responsibility municipalities have for these large infrastructure projects?
Yeah, first off, let me start by agreeing with Christine. There is a significant amount of red tape that we as government need to ensure is cut through in order to carry out our operations more efficiently and to be able to provide an end user, in this case our taxpayers, with a better service and a better product. As for the reasons why we find ourselves where we are, this is exactly why we're calling for a revisit to Metro Vancouver as an organization and its mandate, where it started over 50 years ago. And really, there's little to no responsibility, if you will, or accountability that is then translated over to taxpayers or to municipal governments that are members of the Metro Vancouver region. The members are appointed, myself included. I sit on the Liquid Waste Committee, full disclosure. So I've seen how much monies are being allocated to different projects, where they're being spent. And quite frankly, I and others, such as Cash and other councillors around the region, have called for this accountability, for the transparency that is desperately needed, so that not only municipal government, but also taxpayers can have that line of sight on where their dollars are being spent and be able to have that representation and agree or disagree to certain projects. Whereas right now it seems that Metro Vancouver functions within a regional government context, superseding many of the guardrails, if you will, that our democratic process holds to ensure that we are accountable to our constituents and to our voters and taxpayers.
All right, we've got time for one quick final call. Stephen on Vancouver Island, hi.
Hello.
I understand you work in heavy industry.
Yeah, that's correct. I'm currently working on a number of projects, and there'll probably be some total of $1 billion on its own.
That that is quite the budget. Do you understand a little bit why these budgets can spiral so out of control?
Well, in my experience, design build has been kind of a more efficient model for actually constructing these big jobs. And that's because the company that's actually involved in the construction process is the one who is doing the design, and thereby assumes the burden of any mistakes that are made in the construction process. Further to that, a lot of these projects have multiple levels of design associated with them. And so you'll have multiple engineering firms that are working on the structural, the civil, the mechanical, all the different aspects of the construction. And those engineering firms themselves are not communicating between each other. So, I mean, that goes back to design build kind of being my preference. Further to that, I kind of think that there's a lot of micromanagement that occurs from the client side. So that would be the municipality, that would be the federal and provincial government, and they want to have oversight, which is completely understandable, but there is no sort of emphasis on streamlining those processes and kind of narrowing down the specifications that are required within construction. And so you'll have specifications that are so detailed that they're referencing specific types of sand that needs to be graded by an engineer, and it needs to come from this source and needs to be screened using this process, and then there's a specific type of geotextile that needs to be involved, and all of this, when what the client actually fundamentally cares about is the capacity of water retention, for instance, in the structure that's being constructed, right? And so what design build sort of does is it says that as long as the people who are assigned to build and design this facility assure that, for instance, water retention occurs to the requirements, then, we don't want to necessarily see a client be so concerned about the specifics of what materials might be used to then create that degree of water retention, for example.
I see. Stephen,
And
unfortunately, I do have to stop you there. We are right out of time, but I really appreciate you sort of illuminating all the many steps that have to be taken into consideration. And Cash and Ahmed, regretfully, we are out of time as well, but I thank you for joining us.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Cash Heed, Richmond City Councillor, and Ahmed Youssef, Maple Ridge City Councillor. It is 12:27, and this is BC Today. We brought you the story yesterday that another BC United candidate had defected to the BC Conservatives. And today, Kevin Falcon is responding. At a news conference this morning to announce economic policies, he told reporters that BC United is not alone in facing these kinds of challenges.
Well, look, I think it's important to understand every party goes through this. The NDP have had 2 MLAs now that are sitting as independents. We've got the BC Conservative Party have lost multiple candidates because of their extreme views that aren't even close to mainstream British Columbian views. And yes, we've lost some candidates and MLAs too. This kind of thing unfortunately happens, but I can tell you this, when the election rolls around, the public's going to look around and they're going to say, who are the people that can change direction and get this economy back on track and start to provide relief for British Columbians who are frankly fed up after 32 new and increased taxes under this NDP government have created the most unaffordable province in the country. That's not me saying it. That's all been reported widely by independent third-party media and sources. We are the most expensive, unaffordable place to live. That's what's happened under the NDP government. That's got to change. And I think that when British Columbians look at the options, they're going to look at the people that have the experience, the track record of getting things done in government and the private sector, and they're going to vote for BC United. I really believe that.
BC United leader Kevin Falcon speaking in Vancouver this morning. An Angus Reid survey in late May suggested Falcon's party has about half the level of public support that the BC Conservatives have. That poll has put the BC NDP at 41%, the BC Conservatives at 30%, and BC United at 16%. And the next provincial election is scheduled for October 19th. You can watch yesterday's edition of BC Today. For more on this topic, just search on YouTube for the CBC Vancouver page. And it is an exciting time for all graduates, and we want to hear from you. Are you graduating from high school or post-secondary this year? Or do you want to congratulate a grad of 2024? That's what we're here to do. Our number is 604-669-3733. You can also call 1-800-825-5950 or hit pound 690. Email us, bctoday@cbc.ca. On the coast, or our CBC on the Coast intern, Gabby Tark, spoke with Langara College students after their commencement in Vancouver.
I'm graduating from Langara College. It's amazing how time flew by really fast. The journey was ups and downs and made a lot of friends along the way. I'm very grateful that I made it this far.
Yeah, it's feel excited. It was a very late one, but still a successful one, yeah.
Back in India, after doing our schooling, we just came here and we don't know how the environment of college is. And coming here, we learn a lot, we make new friends.
I got her in the first semester and first day of my college. Yeah. And we are good friends now.
So you guys have stayed friends the whole time through school?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Like graduating from Langara is like a great experience for me.
It was a little nervous at first, but I'm really excited, and the whole day was just so much fun. It definitely made me appreciative that I went into the program. I was skeptical at first about if I wanted to, but it's all played out really, really well.
I'm an elected student governor. My role here today was just to support my fellow students. I had a couple of friends graduate today, and it was really amazing to see them. Just the sheer amount of energy people have whenever they see one of their friends graduate. And this was a really amazing group. I kind of really feel, especially with my friends from the Punjabi community, have that Punjabi spirit when they're graduating. It's really great, yeah.
I graduate with my best friend, so I'm more happy.
How do you feel?
I feel really good because as she already told that she got graduated with me, she completed her studies quickly
As well as
for
his
me.
studies.
For me.
I didn't only graduate for myself because I also completed my studies and his studies.
So she was my savior. So that's why today it's really good for us to be together. And it went so quick.
Studying so hard for 2 years, I'm finally graduated. I was also a part-time student then. It was really hard, but somehow I managed. I feel really good.
And whether you're graduating or no, a grad, contact us now. Our number, 604-669-3733. You can also call us at 1-800-825-5950 or hit pound 690. Email us, bctoday@cbc.ca. We are taking your calls on grads here on BC Today. The news is next with Robert Zimmerman.
Good afternoon. The Union of BC Indian Chiefs is welcoming the federal government's decision to ban open net salmon farming by 2029. Chief Stuart Phillips says they have been advocating for an end to the practice for years, but not all have responded favorably, with some industry representatives and BC First Nations involved in salmon farming saying the government has created an environment of uncertainty. Emergency repairs to a sewer main in Vancouver's Olympic Village are underway after streets were flooded this morning. About 6 to 8 inches of effluent was pooling on Columbia near West 2nd. An acclaimed Canadian actor Donald Sutherland has died. The New Brunswick native rose to stardom with films like The Dirty Dozen and MASH. His son, actor Kiefer, says his father loved what he did, calling him one of the most important actors in film history. Donald Sutherland was 88 years old. And now the forecast on the North Coast. Sunshine this afternoon with a high of 16. Highs up to 25 with a mix of sun and cloud in the Peace. In the central interior, including Prince George, some sun and cloud with a high of 24 degrees. Highs in the low 20s with some sunshine and a chance of showers in the Kootenays. In the southern interior, including Kelowna, a high of 26 with a mix of sun and cloud. And for Metro Vancouver, Greater Victoria, and the Fraser Valley, lots of sunshine this afternoon with highs up to 28 inland. That's your CBC News update from Vancouver.
Thank you, Rob. Rob Zimmerman in the CBC Vancouver newsroom. Rob, it's the first day of summer. Well, it will be shortly.
Super exciting,
Super exciting. Does that mean you'll finally get to play tennis?
Yeah,
I know you've been waiting.
hoping to play a bit of tennis. Played this morning. Stanley Park, beautiful.
Doesn't matter
Underneath
what
the
season.
herons.
Oh, that's dangerous.
It was exciting. Yeah,
Okay.
it's exciting.
That's
it is
one way to
dangerous.
put it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Rob.
Lovely. Thanks.
And happy summer to you. Rob Zimmerman in the CBC Vancouver newsroom. Lots more on the day's top stories on the afternoon shows in your region. In Metro Vancouver, here's what's coming up on the coast.
Belle Puri sitting in for Gloria Makarenko today. On the coast, the ballooning cost of the North Shore wastewater treatment plant has been a headache for taxpayers and Metro Vancouver mayors alike. Our reporter Chad Pawson has been digging into this and looking at some of the possible outcomes. We will speak to Chad about his findings. And if you were disappointed that Lionel Messi skipped town in a game against the Whitecaps last month, you might be cheering against him as Team Canada takes on Team Argentina at the Copa America. We'll tell you all about that game. On the Coast is on the air every day at 3 o'clock. We'll talk to you then.
Thank you, Belle Puri. And you can hear On the Coast on CBC Radio 1 in Metro Vancouver and anywhere on the CBC News app. And yes, it is the time of year when we are seeing many graduate. They're leaving high school, they're leaving university and college, maybe they're leaving preschool or kindergarten. Regardless, it is an incredible, exciting time, and we want to hear about the grads. We want to hear from recent grads about what your plans are for the future. We want to hear from parents and guardians and teachers about what your hopes are for the recent grads. You can call us 604-669-3733, 1-800-825-5950, pound 690, and you can always email us at bctoday@cbc.ca. And yes, it is a very special time of the school year. Graduation, streams of students in gowns and caps marching proudly, families beaming from the sidelines and celebrating each of those students' achievements, whether big or small. So this half hour, we're celebrating the grads of 2024. And we do want to hear whether high school, college, or university, what makes grads so special and what do you want to share about their achievement? If you're a grad, what's been the highlight of your grad year? And what are your goals post-graduation? Do you want to go to school, work, or travel? 1-800-825-5950, 604-669-3733, pound 690 on your cell phone. You can email bctoday@cbc.ca. We did receive some emails this week earlier. Kathy writes us, when my daughter was in high school focusing on gaining knowledge in science, she struggled with math. Her teacher advised that she not pursue science for that reason. My daughter then and there decided that she would do whatever it took to overcome this challenge. Through sweat, blood, and tears for 5 years in university, clawing her way through calculus, getting help from tutors, and working part-time throughout, she reached her goal of entering the professional development program to become a teacher. Her application embodied her inspiration, which was to be there for students who were struggling like she had been, to let them know that their challenges may be the way they are being taught and not them. We all have a way of learning that fits best, and it is my daughter's mission to find out what that is and nurture it. She walked across that stage with her teaching degree in hand while I cheered loudly above the crowd, proud, beaming. Congratulations, Kathy, to you and your daughter. That's so incredibly wonderful. Suzanne writes, my daughter is 18 and she graduates this year. I'm hoping that we don't forget those graduating from school who have special needs and are in life skills classes. She had a very rough beginning, born with trisomy 21 and a major heart defect, esophageal atresia. Along the road, endured many bouts of pneumonia, asthma, pancreatitis, and in recent years, knee dislocation, along with all of the procedures and surgeries. These things merely touch on what she's dealt with, in addition to long hospital stays and many weeks away from school, therapies, speech, physio, etc. She entered high school. She's been in life skills, included in mainstream part of the time. However, despite her many struggles, she's managed to read and be in school, and school has been included in dance and drama classes. Outside of school, she's currently a Girl Guide Ranger, a brown belt in martial arts, and plays piano and reads music. She can ride a bike and swim and take transit independently. And none of these easy considering her early beginnings. She loves her teachers, loves her school, and loves her classmates. Initially, it was difficult to have her included in her prom because despite her many successes, she still needs some support and guidance in small ways. Regardless, the school came through and she is looking forward to her prom like all the other students. What does her future hold? I don't know, but I do know I was not expecting my extremely fragile newborn to grow up to be such a brave, strong, accomplished young lady. I'm immensely proud of her. Perhaps we all need to change our perception of what success looks like, because more inclusion benefits all of us. P.S. A shout out to all the very many teachers and SSAs along the way who guided her and supported her, and the long hours devoted to writing up her IEPs. Thank you. Suzanne, congratulations to you and your phenomenal daughter. I wish her all the success in her future. And we're taking your calls and emails here on the show as we celebrate the graduates of 2024. Tell us about the grad in your life. What's been the highlight of your grad year? What are your goals after graduating? Our numbers are 1-800-825-5950, 604-669-3733, pound 690 on your cell phone. And we'll take a call now from Stephen. Hi, Stephen. You're calling from Prince George.
Yes, I am.
And do you have a graduate you want to shout out today?
I certainly do. My wife, Christy, has been an employee of UNBC for many years. And when she started her career at a fairly low-level administrative position, she, of course, wanted to advance, wanted to move up, but found that without a degree, she couldn't apply for a lot of the jobs she wanted. Now, UNBC offers employees free tuition and free expenses. So she could take courses when she could fit them into her schedule and then work toward getting a degree. So that's what she decided to do. And over the past a little more than 12 years, she has been taking classes, sort of 1 or 2 per semester,
Wow.
As schedule permits and as she struggles through them. But yes, she finished in December of last year and graduated in June.
Incredible. You sound so proud of her.
I am extremely proud of her. The funny thing is that Christy, being Christy, did not really want to make a big deal out of graduating. She wasn't worried about it, didn't care. And my family, who, are, my parents are in their 80s, and, basically we all told Christy, you are going to graduate, you are going to walk across the stage, and we are going to sit in the audience and scream and yell and generally cause trouble and make sure that you are celebrated. And so
sometimes you just have to take control.
Yeah. So anyways, yes, Christy did walk across the stage and we did get pictures and we did, make noise, et cetera, et cetera. So yes, we are very, very proud of her.
Oh, I think that's wonderful. Congratulations to her. And I'm sure having your support all these years was incredibly important to her journey. But way to go, Christy. Thank you for calling in. We will take a call now from Steve in Chilliwack. Hi, Steve. How are you?
I'm doing well, Amy. How are you?
I'm doing great. So tell us about the grad you want to celebrate.
Well, we want to celebrate our son, who's just at the age of 4 was diagnosed on the spectrum, autism spectrum, and he's turning 27 this year. But he's going to be receiving his gas ticket and his plumbing ticket.
Great.
He's just gone through the whole Red Seal program for the last 5 years, and he's just completed it. So as parents, we are more than proud of his accomplishments and where he is today.
That is incredible. Congratulations to him. I'm sure he is very excited for the future, and I'm sure you are too. That's quite an accomplishment. I will read another email that we received and encourage you, email us, call us, 604-669-3733. You can also reach us toll free 1-800-825-5950, pound 690 on your cell phone, and email bctoday@cbc.ca. Daphne writes, we would like to wish our daughter Maya and her classmates the most fabulous graduation from Coast Mountain Academy on this beautiful day here in Squamish. And wish us luck as we agreed to host the graduation after party. Daphne, so brave. Much love from your mom, your dad, sisters, aunts, uncles, grandparents, and closest family friends. Way to go, Maya. Congratulations. And Daphne, good luck tonight. Tioni writes, my grandson Cole Lockhart is graduating next Wednesday in Salmon Arm. Today is his last day of high school. I am so proud of his efforts and commitment to reaching this milestone. Looking forward to celebrating with him next week as I travel from Vancouver Island to see him walk across that stage. And he starts a whole new exciting chapter in his life. Congratulations, Cole. Your grandmother, obviously, very, very proud of you. And while we wait for a few more calls, we found some famous commencement speeches. This is the best-selling author and public speaker Malcolm Gladwell speaking at the University of Toronto back in 2011, giving an admonition to use their knowledge with wisdom.
Computers don't educate children. Real education happens because of a personal connection between a teacher and a student. And a fancy new engine won't solve our environmental problems. Our environmental problems are at root caused by our values and our behaviors and our expectations. Okay? Technological problems are not the hardest part of the future, they're the easiest part. The hard part are the human problems that accompany the rise of technology. All of you have received in your time here a wonderful technical preparation for contributing to the world. You have learned skills and techniques and theories and formulas. But now we need something else from you. We need you to use those skills and techniques with wisdom and humility. Good luck to all of you, and congratulations.
That was author Malcolm Gladwell speaking at the convocation at the University of Toronto in June 2011. And we have another call, this time from Val in Penticton. Good afternoon, Val.
Oh, good afternoon.
So tell me who you are celebrating this graduation season.
I'm the grandmother of Dominic Lightning Jack. He graduated grade 12, and he had COVID 3 times this year.
Oh, my goodness.
So that was the first thing that when the MC was talking about the graduates from Penticton, that they managed to do this even though they got COVID. So they're more or less called the COVID graduates.
It is interesting with the graduates this year, all of them being, younger and having their high school experience disrupted by COVID. So nice that we're at this point now where they can settle and celebrate together. What is your grandson Dominic thinking of doing now that he's finished high school?
Well, he's First Nations. He's taking up swimming, lifeguard training.
Oh, great.
And he's going to be working, I believe, with natural resources in our communities.
That's incredible. And
Yes.
is it hard sometimes to see that he's grown up so quickly?
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It can be hard to let go.
That is
Yeah.
one of the hardest parts about having a graduate in your family, is you are so proud of them and you want all the best for them, but you remember how little they once were and how time flies so quickly.
Oh, yes. Too fast. Okay.
Well,
thank you very much.
Thank you for calling in, Val, and we welcome anybody to call in today. This is your chance to shout out a grad, to let everybody know that you have a 2024 graduate in your family. We'd also like to hear from you if you are graduating, whether that's from high school or post-secondary? What are your plans for the future? How does this step make you feel? Are you excited? Are you nervous? Are you raring to go? Are you hoping to sort of cling to this moment in time a little bit longer? You can call us, of course, 1-800-825-5950, 604-669-3733. You can email us, bctoday@cbc.ca. And we were looking through some acclaimed commencement speeches of years past. And here's another one. This is acclaimed American novelist Jesmyn Ward speaking at Tulane University in New Orleans in 2018. Here's part of her speech giving advice on pursuing your dreams.
Be patient with yourself. If you are one of those lucky people who are exceptionally good at an endeavor you're passionate about, if you possess tireless ambition and keen direction right now, congratulations. You will go far and do well. Your successes will come early and rapidly. If you are not one of those lucky people, if you are bewildered and confused and clinging tenaciously to some course you love, be patient. Work hard. Hold your dream tightly to you and do everything you can to realize it within reason. Take a step that will lead you toward the realization of your dream, and then take another and another and another.
That's author Jesmyn Ward giving the convocation speech at Tulane University in 2018. We still want to hear from you. We want to send out congratulations, of course, to all graduates, the grad year of 2024. But if you would like to give a personal shout out to the graduate in your life, if you're a graduate yourself, just let us know. Now is your chance. We've just got a few minutes left, but we would love to take your call or your email so we can just make that grad in your life know how proud you are of them. You can call us at 1-800-825-5950, 604-669-3733. You can email us, bctoday@cbc.ca. And of course, such an exciting time for all graduates out there, but it can be a scary time as well. So if you are listening and you are feeling a little bit nervous about your next step, just take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. Enjoy the excitement, enjoy your accomplishments, and just know that whatever you do next is going to be the right choice for you. We'll take a call now from Greg in Campbell River. Hi, Greg. Thanks for calling in.
Hi, thank you. I'm 77 years old now.
Okay.
It took me 2 extra years to get my high school graduation. The principal didn't like me, so he wouldn't sign off on a couple of correspondence courses. But my dad kind of held me down in West Vancouver by offering me the car and then a credit card and then some pocket money to get me to stay and do my correspondence courses instead of going up north. And it took me 2 years, but I got my high school diploma and I got into university. I spent 7 years at UVic, bouncing around from faculty to faculty to faculty, and then left without a degree after 7 years. And I went into journalism, and at one point I phoned UVic and said, what would it take for me to get a degree? And they went through all of the options. They all involved a math course, which I was not going to do, except for English. And I had to take a couple of courses to get my English degree, but I got it, and I essentially lived off what I learned for 50 years, because every time I went to do an interview with somebody, I knew a bit about what they were talking about, enough that it was an intelligent conversation.
Right.
And I'd like to tell anybody who is flunked out or is a couple of courses short or whatever, there are ways to get your high school diploma and get into university. In university, even if you end up flunking out with a couple of courses missing, you can eventually go back and get those courses and get your degree. I mean, I did it, and I lived off the results for 50 years.
Greg,
so it's possible.
I really, really appreciate you taking the time to call in, because I think that is such important advice for many, many people, that it can take a lot of time, and your path might not always be a straight line forward, but if it's something you want to do, you will be able to get it done on your own time. So I'm super proud of everything that you have accomplished, but I just love that you're willing to prop people up a little bit and share that. Thank you. We will take another call now from Denise in Parksville. Hi, Denise. Is there a 2024 grad that you want to give a shout out to?
Yes, my lovely niece, Lindsay, who was born with FAS disability and was told she'd never make it past grade school. She's the first generation of our family that's made it to university and is graduating, and it's just so wonderful.
That is...
I'm very, very proud of her.
You should be very, very proud of her. Thank you so much for calling in. We'll have another call from Caitlin. Hi, Caitlin.
Hello. Hi. I just want to give a shout out to my daughter who's finishing her high school or her time in high school this year, I should say, not necessarily with the Dogwood, but there's a lot of children who don't necessarily fit into that school system as it's set up right now, and they work so hard and they just put their full selves into it. And whether or not you've graduated with a Dogwood this year, if you've completed the task of going through high school, congratulations. Your real life begins now. And just best of luck in the future. And there's always time to upgrade and work towards your passion.
And again, such an important message, and a huge congratulations to everybody that did struggle and did have issues. Know that your journey has been worth it, and that everything will work out. Your time really is now. And on a personal note, I watched my own daughter walk across the stage at Convocation yesterday, and I just want to say, Ellery, your dad and I and your brother and your whole family are so proud of you. When I saw you walking across that stage yesterday, I saw glimpses of my little baby girl, and I also saw a glimpse of the future you will have as an extraordinary woman. So thank you for letting me be part of your journey. And thank you for all your calls and emails, and congratulations again to the grads of 2024.